Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Trueleon Army video show, where this is not the show you asked for, but the episode you needed to hear. Today I got my man Stephen Brown on. We're sitting there talking about accountability. Had a few offline conversations, but we thought it'd be good to bring it up and talk about it in front of you guys. How do you hold somebody accountable that you're with, or even if you should hold somebody accountable? So Steve, man, go ahead and kick it off. Go ahead and get it off your chest, man.
Okay. So accountability. Accountability is key. It's important. No matter what the gender is, man. Male, female, young, old, accountability. So let's jump into accountability when you're not in a relationship. Individual accountability. As an adult, you're accountable. Pay your own bills. You know what I mean? Respect. Just the basics. Respect one another. And when you choose to be in a relationship, you're accountable for the person you choose. The traits, the red flags, all of that is accountability. And you're supposed to learn that from your parents. But I mean, as far as when you're choosing a mate, you're choosing somebody who, quote unquote, is not shit, you're accountable for that. You're accountable for everything that comes with that.
So, I think for me, when I think of accountability, I look at it as though, of course, just the standard definition that you see, but I hate the term where I hear people say you need to hold somebody accountable. Like, I hate that. Like, it's self-accountability. And just to give you an example, years ago, when I was working at AT&T, I got promoted to management. Now, prior to that, I did like a retail sales consultant position. And with that, worked directly with the customer. I was in charge of my commission. I rocked out. I held myself accountable to the standard that, allowed me to rank number one. So when I got promoted, one thing I learned was that it was micromanagement because I had to hold people accountable. And the biggest thing I tried to teach was self-accountability. The stress that came along with that position was that it's not something you can teach or hold somebody accountable. They have to want to do it. For example, if I sit and make sure you get to work on time, make sure that you're doing all the things that the company require you to do, basically, I'm just extending myself and working for you because I have to sit there and do it. But the goal is for you to execute when I'm not watching you, when I'm not doing that. And there's very few people who understand self-accountability. There's like the fat person who be like, hey, make sure I don't eat any junk food or doing it. It's just like, hey, I could do my best to help you out, but it comes down to you. I've done that, with my wife. I'll be like, hey, babe, let's clear out some of the snacks in the house, and it's cool, but it's just like, it's really up to me. Like I've been on the health journey, working out in my home gym and, starting to be more careful in what I eat and take in. And it's a day to day thing. It's nothing you can, try to pull out at once, but self-accountability is so important that I don't think enough time is spent on it. Everybody talks so much about, holding people accountable, definitely in relationships. Like, and jump to that, man. Like, when you think of relationships, what do you think when it comes to like holding your spouse accountable?
Well, with relationships, if you jump into a relationship, like you said, first of all, you gotta hold yourself accountable.
Try to say it towards the mic, man.
You gotta hold yourself to accountability before you jump into a relationship. Make sure you solid. But when you in a relationship, you gotta be accountable for what you say, what you do, what comes out of your mouth. When you wrong, you wrong. Admit you wrong. Let's see what else. As far as women, and we'll jump on women first, and then we'll shoot back to the man. But as far as women, accountability. If you want respect in a relationship,
right?
Okay, you have to give it to get it.
Of course, yeah.
So if you start off like that, and you choose someone. Initially, when you're meeting them and they're respectful, then you will have respect in that relationship because you both holding each other accountable to respect. And that's just on a respect aspect of relationship. But you can apply that to any issue in a relationship.
I think what you just state could apply to both male and female. Like, for example, I think when I think of accountability in a relationship, I think about like where somebody say, you know, hey, I really want to lose this weight, or hey, I really, you know, I want to make more money. I want to take all these steps, and you know, and of course, as a teammate, you want to help this person and do all of that. But, and the reason I go back to self accountability is because with it coming down to you, when you're alone at night or you're alone at some point, that's the point where it truly kicks in, where the discipline, because the issue I see people have is that they struggle with the task or the requirements to reach the level in their mind they feel they should be. So for example, if you wanted to make more money, right? And you wanted to, you know, get a better job. Let's say this better job require a new degree or a new certification. Let's say you now have to sacrifice more time to be able to attain that. Now that you have to attain that, you can see it in your mind, but it technically can't nobody hold you accountable to the dreams and aspirations you have in your mind. You have to be self-disciplined enough to say, I'm going to hold myself accountable. And the reason I like to go back to the day-to-day, let's say, you know, if you're trying to work with an alcoholic and say, never take a drink again. That shit don't work, guy. You know, it's like, hey, how about tomorrow? Don't have a drink tomorrow. Just get through tomorrow.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. You know, like if you made a mistake today, you know what? Hey, tomorrow, that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I feel like it has to be day to day. And you got to find that place, that zen, to be able to hold yourself accountable. I hate the stresses, and I've done this for a while, where I try to hold people accountable. They say, hey, I want to get a better job, or I want to make more money, and I will like go through like, okay, you got to do this. I'm gonna hold you accountable. I want to come back. I want to see your resume. I want to see, you know, that you're following these steps. And God, that shit is stressful. Just like it was stressful when I did that position in management. It taught me that, you know, because we were so limited on, you know, as far as like the, you know, so many rules when it comes to hiring. Like when I have my own business, the main thing I'm going to focus on is how well can you hold yourself accountable? Because I'm not going to micromanage you. The standards are not going to change. Just like in a relationship, like when you got with your girl, I'm sure you laid out standards like, hey, you know, if you talk to another guy, caught cheating, or if you know, exercise yourself in these type of manners that are my red lines, it's a wrap.
Right.
Now, am I going to sit here and go through your phone or do all these steps to make sure it holds you accountable to that? No.
Right.
You know the standards. If you don't follow the standards, it's a wrap. Same thing with an employee. Right. And where I worked, it was so stressful because they were in a union. You couldn't really fire people. It was so many. It was just like, you know what? I do better holding my own self accountable. And the steps I want to take, it was a good lesson, but it's just not the route in which I wanted to go.
Right. And I'll talk on me personally, accountability in a family structure. So I'll take myself as an example. Like you were saying, if you want to achieve something, there's steps that you need to take. Mm-hmm. Accountability goes with discipline, mm-hmm. sacrifice, mm-hmm. consistency. Mm-hmm. So if I want to do real estate, because I'm doing real estate right now, mm-hmm. okay, so if I want to walk away from my job and take this chance in this venture, mm-hmm. I'm showing my kids accountability is better than just telling them. I'm showing them. Right. I'm giving them the blueprint. Right. Me waking up every morning, 6:00, I got my routine, no excuses. Mm-hmm. I get up, I go to the gym, mm-hmm. and then I go work on my house. Mm-hmm. I take my kids with me. So they know there's no excuse. Not, I have my kid, I got to do this, I got to mm-hmm. do that, I'm not feeling good. For a man, especially with my son, there's no excuse. If you want something, mm-hmm. do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Hold yourself accountable mm-hmm. for what you need to do to get it done, and mm-hmm. just do it and just execute. So when you're not feeling good, it doesn't matter. Get up and do it. That's where the discipline comes in, if you want it bad enough.
Now, I think when it comes to children, holding them accountable is like the level of, I guess, tolerance that I would have when it comes to holding someone accountable. And I feel like as they're growing up, just like what you said, you bring them along, you teach them, you're giving them the lesson so that you normalize making those hard sacrifices, so that when you have this dream or idea in your mind, you're already accustomed to taking steps to get there. You know, so they don't grow up and, as Nas said, be in a second childhood. and, not know how to function as an adult. My eldest daughter right now is in the Air Force. She's doing her thing. Now, back when she was here, and we used to have her doing chores, and, sometimes she couldn't stand it. She hated it. Guys, she just got like 2 coins the other day. So, which means, and not sure if you're aware, but when you get a coin, that's basically your commander recognizing that you exceeded the expectations for this role or task they put you on beyond everyone else around you. So, to be awarded for that, I felt like we got a coin. I felt like, hey, the moments where you got mad, you had to do them chores and you had to go out and do this, or where other people were able to go out and do stuff and we kept you on task.
Right.
Yes, it was holding you accountable. And yes, there's stresses along with doing it as a parent. But we do that because we realize that once you get older, you're going to be able to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, and it take you further. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Showing it is better than just saying it. You have to lead by example, especially with men. You're leaders in a family unit. So you got to start that off at a young age. This is what men do. So with my son, he sees what I do. Men get up. Men are productive. Men make things happen. Men don't, no excuses. None. Because especially as a black man, you don't get excuses. You neither do it or don't. We don't get as much sympathy as females or other people. It's do it or don't do it. Find a way to do it with problem solvers.
Right.
So this is what I have to do. This is the obstacles. What can I do to get this done? Teaching them how to think emotionally, control their emotions, make good decisions. It all goes together with each other, and it helps you with accountability because you have the tools to be accountable for yourself.
Yeah, and with that, and just to piggyback, I feel like that message will still apply to both sons and daughters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But more especially, like you said, with our sons, simply because I feel like that the world is not easy on men. Like if you come out in this world and you don't have that knowledge of self-discipline or how to make things happen or how to get out here and I can't stand when someone can't hold themselves accountable or take ownership, because in order to hold yourself accountable, you have to first acknowledge that there are things in which you may be doing or things that are holding you back, and you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest. Like I had a buddy I was talking to, and I won't share his name just for privacy concerns, but he made the statement that the reason why he couldn't get job that he wanted was because of his name. And I was like, guy, really? Like, how how many people I work with personally that I can't pronounce their name?
Right.
We had a president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama.
Right, exactly.
So, I feel like that defeated nature is on you. And if somebody say that, and this was my response, I say, guy, if you feel that way, by all means, that's fine. That's on you. Right. Like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that if something like that will hold you back, that's self accountability. That means, like, is it more with your resume? Is it the jobs in which you're going for you may not qualify for? What steps you have to do to get that? Every position in which I apply for, I've always looked. I say, okay, hey, this is what they're requiring. This is what they need. Okay, what does it take to get it? And then I do a cost benefit analysis. Like, for example, some may require a degree in this. Hey, if this degree costs this much money, but I'm only going to be making that much money, hey, it's not worth it. Hey, if I could save my money and work a little harder here, get into real estate, do this, set up my own business, I'll make more money in due time. So, of course, that's everybody's personal path to take. But the point is that when I hear definitely men say stuff like, well, this held me back, that held me back, I had a bad childhood, my father wasn't in my life, like, that shit is excuses.
Yeah, and this is what I'll say about that too. 2 things. Number one, we know as men, steel sharpens steel.
Yeah, for sure.
So when he expressed that to you and you got a good circle, they're going to give you something motivated. Like, nah, man, you can get that job. Like, just do this or try this or try this. And then another thing is accountability. If something doesn't work, figure out what can you do to make it work. Like for me, I used to have this mindset that the banks wasn't messing with me or because I was black or redlining or all these things people used to say because they couldn't get a loan, a small business loan or whatever. But when you start switching up how you move, what you're spending money on, figure it out, next thing you know, guess what? The banks was messing with. giving me loans. Credit was getting better, establishing a relationship, getting business credit, and actually moving and doing exactly what I thought I couldn't do. Now I'm doing it, not because I set boundaries or I gave in to those excuses or, hey, I can't do this because I'm black or this. Like, no, it's not. Like, there's a way to get things done. And another thing I look at, too, that motivates me, on my TikTok and my social media, I see so many other people less unfortunate, not complaining and getting things done. People with appendages, no arms, no legs, diseases, still fighting through it.
Yeah.
Still taking care of business, still have this outlook on life. They're optimistic. They're still, they're not mad. They're not bitter. They're not making excuses. They're still getting up, doing what they need to do and figuring it out. And I'm like, if you can figure that out, I got all these tools and to my disposal, I should be able to figure out what I need to figure out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's, and when you like, I like where you said, steel sharpen steel, like, even like, and I thought about that. Let's say if you sharpen in a knife, you don't sharpen it against something that it can cut. You sharpen it against something harder.
Right.
That's, and I would say that's someone's already established, but also with that, in order to be sharpened, you have to put yourself in that place to begin with. And sometimes, when I hear men say stuff like that, and I'm honest, I'm the type of cat, I'll tell you straight out what it is. But if you want to defend that logic, if you want to stand on that, if you want that to be the mountain you die on, the reason why you're not where you are financially is because of this or because of that, or, hey, guy, that's you.
Right.
If I've seen guys who be like, man, my child support too much. Hey, guess what? Go make more.
Yeah.
Go make more money. Like, I hate child support. I do. I spent the whole last podcast talking about it. I hate it. I can't stand it. There's changes that need to be made. But you know what? It is what it is. And I'm not going to let it stop me. And I'm going to get out here and I'm going to make the money and I'm going to do what I have to.
Yeah.
Like, no excuses.
Yeah, I agree, man. The excuses have to be left at the door. But that has to be taught to you by especially a positive male role model. If your dad's not in your life, some kind of, even a female positive role model. But that has to be taught to you at an early age. Like I'm telling my son, no excuses. Like right now, he wants to play basketball. That's what he wants to do. Well, you want to play basketball and you're going to be going to the 8th grade. He's a little shorter, so that means you're going to have to be a point guard. There's only 3 positions. There's first, second, and third string. So you're going to have to beat out first, second, and third. And you're going to have to leave all excuses at the door. That means when you're playing games, put the games down, go outside, work on your dribbles, work on your fundamentals. And that applies to anything. So if this is what you want, this is the work you have to put in to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm here to motivate you, support you. But initially, that work falls on you. You have to go in there. You have to do the blood, sweat, and tears. And the biggest thing is, anything that you want, you have to sacrifice. That's something I try to get through to even my girl, my daughter, my sister, people around me, even myself. I remind myself, anything worth having takes sacrifice.
So let me ask you this. If we circle back to relationships, right? What's that cutoff to where you say, let's say you hear somebody say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and, what's your cutoff where you just like, fuck it, I don't care? Like, because for me, like I said, there's a stress involved with holding somebody accountable. I love encouraging. Like when I talk to my wife, I encourage her. I give her, things that I would do, and then she, puts it in her way that makes it easier for her. And I felt like, that's where when we both kind of sometimes, it says, oh, like the person, you give me strength, accountability. Like I hate that because I feel like, what if you were to pass away? Definitely if you got kids with this person. You know what I mean? What if I were to pass away? How would you be? Would you be a total train wreck and can't take care of kids? You don't know how to hold yourself accountable to do the necessary task or whatever. I'm not saying that we struggle with that, but that's the type of stuff I think about. So, and it goes back to what you said about how you were raised. Like my mom always taught us that, man don't work, man don't eat. You guys got to take care of yourself, be independent. I mean, it was times where she'd say, hey, this is the last gift I'm buying you guys. And we was younger, used to like, man, what? Like, you ain't gonna buy us a game no more? You gonna buy us a Christmas present? You ain't gonna do anything? Like, but it taught me a lesson that still to this day, even after her passing, all her sons, we're independent. We get out here, we make moves, and we do things. But like I said, for children, it's perfect because you got the time to develop them while they're younger. But what about in a relationship standpoint where you have somebody come in and I don't know, like, do you hold them accountable? Like, you know, it's like a fine balance. Like, where's that cutoff point where you say, because, and again, I'm assuming that the things they want help with are not your red lines. It's not like they're coming in and you know, like texting other people or being disrespectful. That's non-negotiable. Everybody's red line is different. I'm talking about stuff they say they want to do.
Right.
You know, like if your girl say, hey, I want to lose weight. Like, what do you do?
So this is my thing. So, yeah, well, my girl, if she says she wants to do something, she has to hold herself accountable, and yeah, I'll hold her accountable. But my cutoff is after I continually support, help you, be your support system, and if you're not doing the things you need to do, then that's when I just back off, because initially it's up to you. So if you're saying, hey, I want to start a business, well, you have to work harder than, because I'm going to support you a little bit, but 90% of the work is going to be you. I'm going to come in and support you where I need to be, but you're going to have to do the work because it's your business. This is your dream. This is what you wanted to do. So you have to put in that work. So I'll help you as much as I can, but if I'm not seeing you doing that consistently, then that's when I will start to back off. Like, hey, you must not want it because you're not doing what you need to do to get it done. And you just back off and let them do ill.
And I agree. Like, I 100% agree with like backing off and not making a big deal out of it. Because a lot of times, if you're more passionate about their dreams than they are, that's going to create frustration. You know, like if you know, your woman wants to make, you know, 150,000, but the steps to get there is like crazy. It's like, yeah, I'll help you get there. But if it's not as important to you, it's fine. Like, we're good. We're good. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine where you are. Like, for one, that doesn't matter. At least to me, every relationship is different. I don't care what my wife makes. You know, you could be working at McDonald's, you know.
Right.
The amount of money doesn't matter. But the point I'm making is that I've seen in relationships where some people will be so dragged down in trying to hold someone else accountable. And it just reminds me back when I was managing in the circumstance of like a union team, where I had some reps who was like after it. Now, mind you, I had a #1 store, but the stress was that, man, I am like damn near working for everybody.
Right.
I am like micromanaging, like I'm dealing with children almost, and no disrespect to them, but it wasn't important to them. You know, like, I'm not gonna sit here and look at your timesheet. Like, I don't care about shit like that. Like, you were hired to do this. Let's make the company more money. And again, you know, once you get to a point, you be like, hey, fuck it. And when you own your own business, like, let's say when you're doing your real estate, let's say you go in business with somebody else, you're like, hey, you know, we need X amount of money to go get this property. We're going to, you know, get here at this time to do this. You're not going to be sitting here like, hey, man, you where you at? You going to be on time?
Right.
You know, hey, you need to bring the material. Like, nobody's doing that.
Nah.
Like, you know, you got to have enough self-accountability. And then I also would say, it's down to you as the person who you choose to be around. Definitely as adults. Like when I heard that guy say, oh, it's because of my name, I had to like, and again, I gave my feedback, but I had to ignore it. Like, I can't do business with you. Because if you feel it's your name that's holding you back, you're going to be in the same position 10 years from now saying the same shit.
Because your name is the same.
Your name is the same. You're going to be sitting there like, oh, man, well, Drew, man, you got all this, man, because your name, you because you're light skinned, or because like, man, I don't want to hear that shit, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The people you have around, for instance, what you was telling them was all positive things, that you can get whatever you desire, whatever you want to do. You just have to find a way to get it. I can't play into, oh, because you light skinned, or oh, because it is, or oh, because of that. Like, no, like I said, steel sharpens steel. So if you want something, you know what I mean, figure out what you need to do to go get it. But the whole excuses, I think that's sometimes a female trait sometimes. Like,
I definitely thought it was feminine when he said that. It was very feminine. It was very like, I would go further to say, like what Nas said, I stated earlier, second childhood. Like, you want someone to coddle that and baby you and make you feel good that, hey, this didn't happen for you. And like you said, where you seen bunch of works and videos of people who out here making moves, guy.
Yeah. Like,
out here, and they sometimes they don't have a 2-parent home. No. Sometimes they don't have anything like in which, you know, we have to be able to make moves. So the fact that these motherfuckers don't have shit, and you look in the mirror, like, you know, even with my YouTube channel, you know, I see cats and I'll be like, man, I can make better than that. And sometimes you could be with the little Twitter fingers, like fuck that, man, I gotta stop. I could do my own. I don't care if it fails. I'm gonna get out here and try. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna treat this like a business. Hey, I'm already putting on my calendar. Hey, let's talk about this. Bring you on the show. Let's talk about this. Let's make this. Let me get my lighting right. Let me do this. Let me make this a professional venture and show how passionate I am about this and use my skill sets that I learned over the years, you know, and the life lessons. The main thing about the show, and even this episode and everyone after and before, is we have so much knowledge and lesson that I believe that people will receive something from it, you know. And like I said, you know, accountability, we focus so much on holding someone accountable. Stop it. If you're holding somebody accountable in a relationship right now, stop it. You know, there's nothing wrong with having standards. Standards is fine. Standards should have been discussed before you got together. But let's say it wasn't. Sit down, have that conversation. And this is not just relationship. This is with your circle around you that, you know, you communicate with. You know, have those standards. You know, this, like, you know, like my buddy here, sometimes I call him, he's not available. I don't even trip. You know what I know? He probably sitting under a thing, painting, working, doing something, you know, whatever. He'll get back to me. I don't get hurt feelings. You know, I got a lot of buddies that, you know, as we get older, it's busy. I may not be able to text you back for a day or two, but you know, I'm hustling, I'm grinding. I'm gonna get back with you. And, you know, so the way I edify my circle is that, hey, you working on something, you making power moves, man, I can rock with you. I can fuck with you. But if you sitting here complaining about the same stuff and you're not making moves, I'm not going to hold you accountable. I'm going to give you my feedback. I'm going to give constructive criticism on where I believe you're failing at to just help you out. And you got the shoes, the ball is in your court. You gonna put the shoes on, you're going to get out there and play, or you're going to sit there and make excuses. I got a buddy, hopefully have him on next time. Tony Rogers is a author. And I mean, this guy would be like, you know, and he did the same thing to me, you know, whereas I would call and complain about something, and he was just like, guy, until the guy in the motherfucking mirror is sick of it, you're gonna stay in it. You're gonna go through it. So, bitch, get off my phone. Bye.
Yes, that's a mentality and a mindset. Mm-hmm. I'm reading a couple of books right now. 48 Laws of Power. Reading that. Mm-hmm. I'm reading a book called Habits. Mm-hmm. Also Falling Forward and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Mm-hmm. But the book Habits is so crucial because we are creatures of habit. Mm-hmm. So your whole habit can predict the outcome in life for you. So if you're used to sleeping in till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, that's a bad habit because you can't be productive. You can't get up in the morning. You can't get that momentum going. There's certain habits and certain things you do that predicts your outcome. So when you start changing your habit and the way you think, you start getting different outcomes. Yeah, sure. I get up early in the morning. I hit the gym. That gets my momentum going. Health is wealth. If you're not healthy, it don't matter what you're trying to do.
I agree with that. And I tell my wife this when we talk about health. It's like, I said, none of this shit matters if you're not here. Like, none of this shit matters. And that's where, like, dealing with stress. Like, what's stressful is trying to hold somebody accountable and be something you're not. You're not meant to fix other people. You're not meant to. You can edify. You can help coach and develop. You can help talk to and give instruction. But I can't do it for you. I can't go beyond just, you know, instructing. You know, and that's where you have to edify your circle around you. So you're not stressing, trying to sit here and be like, all right, I got to do this for this person. This person didn't wake up on time. Let me call them and be their alarm clock. Fucking simp. Don't do no shit like that. Like, for real, like, don't do that. Like, you know, my kids, like, and I'm hard on my children. Like, my sons, they're supposed to make an appointment, right? This is some crazy shit. They're supposed to make an appointment, like, for their to get their haircuts. And instead of communicating with the barber that they couldn't make it, like, the barber, and I have a great relationship with the guy. I still paid him, even though we didn't show up. Even though they didn't show up, I still paid him. But I made them work for that shit. And the lesson was being a man about your word, following through, and, you know, taking the time to go through and make sure that you're being punctual, because your name is all you have. You know, and showing them like, hey, you about to feel the consequences of this. And as I stated, the world is not fair. You think people gonna care if you can't be punctual, you can't follow through with your word and stuff like that. And when you say about creatures of habit, I say we're creatures who follow the path of least resistance.
That too.
What's easier? Just like you said, sleep in at noon, complain, or like I love what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. There's 24 hours in a day. He would break his time down. Like, I would get up at this time, I would go to sleep at this time, I would get 5 to 6 hours of sleep. Some people say, "Oh, I need so many hours," and he was just like, sleep faster. And when he said, I always tell myself, like my wife has said something like, "Babe, you got so much going on." I'm just like, I'm getting my rest. I sleep faster. Like I'm sleep. I have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So if you can't make it happen, you get the same 24 hours in a day as I do. Everybody that you see, that you like, that you admire, that you may want to imitate, or I say, art imitates art, or pull inspiration from, fucking do it. But understand that the 24 hours they have in a day, and they're prioritizing and making shit happen, you have to do the same thing if you want something different. But cool, if you cool with the mediocre job you have, if you cool with the body type you have, if you cool with all the stuff that you have because it's the path of least resistance, that's fine. As long as if you're around me, it doesn't go past my red lines for as friends, relationship, or such. But if you complaining to me, stop. And if you got somebody complaining to you, please don't let the motherfuckers do that.
And I'll tell you this, especially dealing with my son, my standards of accountability is different than a mama's standards of accountability. We all know when you dealing with your kids and you have a mom, another parent that's difficult to deal with, they don't got the same standards, they don't got the same discipline. It's difficult. So with my son, I tried to hold him accountable. Like, if he breaks something of mine, you accountable. You need to figure out how to make it right, how to pay for it. He's in 7th grade right now. He got 7 periods. So he has to keep up with his homework for each class. It's not up to me. I remember we talked about this a little earlier. But initially, I'll help you. I'll support you. If you need help with your homework, you can come to me. But initially, though, that homework is your responsibility. You need to look and see what you have to do every day, when it needs to be turned in, and then time management. Okay, I have a week to turn in this project. Okay, I'm not going to play video games for this day. I'm going to do my work and turn it in. That's accountability. Like, it's not up to me to do your schoolwork and other things.
And you giving those lessons right now, like I said, it may be stressful because parenting is stressful in some aspects. Because we're trying to teach them lessons to make them stronger and allow them to. Because here's the thing, like, and I said this in the child support episode, like, I don't want my daughters getting older with plenty of kids being on the fucking Kevin Samuels episode begging for help when I could have been harder on you. Because now the world is going to judge you. You get out here in this world, you're not making the moves you need to. Like, just with the eldest daughter, there's other kids around her age that are not out here making it happen. That we know personally. Working BS jobs, not making moves, always making excuses, getting handouts, and, I feel proud. I feel like I'm glad that I was harder on my children and, to give them, because the world ain't going to be easy. I'd rather be that, like you said, that tool that's hard and can sharpen you, because the world don't give a fuck, man. That's the thing. If you didn't get the lesson when you was younger, no matter what your situation is, there's too many. Look, this video, you can get the lessons right now. Lesson right now. Get on Google, figure it out. You don't know how to do something, figure it out.
Right.
I hate when these kids nowadays be like, "Oh, I don't." Fucking YouTube could be your tutor.
Yeah, yeah. They got so many more avenues. That's what I'm saying, and I believe accountability is different for men and women.
I don't think so, man. I think accountability is the same. I think maybe the standards are different with regards to how the world views it. Meaning, like, if a man doesn't meet this certain standard or certain, they may be viewed differently, and the world may be more forgiving when it comes to women. But it's the same, man. Like, I just feel like that. I don't want to separate it simply because I feel like men and women, people, period. No matter what, how you identify, whatever it is, if you have this idea in your mind what you want to be, or what you truly aspire to be, you have to understand there's a cost to it. Are you willing to pay that cost? If you're not, then shut the fuck up. That's it. Shut the fuck up. Don't sit here and say, "Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that." You ain't sit there and wrote down and see what the steps is to take to get there. If you're not willing to do that, then just shut up. You're just making noise.
So maybe if you're saying accountability is the same, maybe I'm talking about responsibilities. Because I feel like shoulders are made to carry weight, not hips. Shoulders is made to bury the weight.
That's a sexist comment.
So when you're in a family structure, like yourself, and you leading, you're supposed to take the brunt of the stuff. You're supposed to figure it out. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to make sure, lead your family. My finances, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to move. This is where we need to go. This is how we're going to structure. This is how we're going to do this. You are the leader. That means most of the responsibility falls on who? You. Because you're the man. So the expectations for you to make stuff happen is more than the expectations on her. She's feminine. So
well, yeah, I mean, and that's exercising in the normal types in which we're used to and understand. I agree with that. I feel like in today's society, the dynamics and roles have switched in some households.
Right.
So I say if you're more masculine, more feminine, however y'all define yourself in your household, yeah, you definitely need to play in your role and accept the responsibilities due to you. But I feel like that wholeheartedly. Accountability is self. You know, you ever watch the 500-pound women episodes? Yes. You ever see where they be like, hey, the doctor come in and say, hey, you've been eating like shit. You don't even have to work out. If you just cut this out, you'll lose like 100 pounds.
Right.
And then they blame everybody around them.
Yes.
Like even if they say somebody has to bring them the food, or they blame everyone around them instead of themselves. That's self-accountability. I've seen male and female in that position. So I just feel like that as adults, as we move into this world, as we navigate things, we have to accept the fact that you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to understand that there's going to be stages, and you have to take it one day at a time. It's hard because, I mean, even me, like I said, I mean, I have the creature habit. I made a goal to get 10,000 steps a day. Do I get it every day? No. But I said, think about, all right, I'm gonna get it this time. I need to wake up earlier. I need to be more conscious of my schedule. And like you said, health is wealth. Even financially, you know, if I say, hey, I want to be able to be at this income level by the time I'm this age. Okay, what is it going to take me to get there? What do I have to cut out? What do I have to add? Maybe I have to, have this expense, but it's going to be able to, like, you know, when you buy a property, you know, sometimes it sucks. It's like, man, I just dropped 30K on this, but guess what? In, you know, a good 2 to 3 years of work on my off time, this motherfucker gonna make me an extra 50 or 60,000, which may not seem like a lot, but that's better than a normal part-time job you may go out and get and be working. So it's about having a plan. It's about following through, and it's about being self-disciplined and, again, holding your self-accountability. So the main things I believe, you know, listeners, you guys should take away is that hold yourself accountable. Don't be in a position where you're holding everybody accountable around you. If you're in a management position, you making good money, you know, do better in hiring quality people that understand that they can hold themselves accountable. You know, because a big thing in the workforce, which create toxic environments, at least in my experience, is that there's too many people in that position that just want to crack the whip, that want to, you know, ride you hard and, you know, make you, you know, work. And just, you know, I don't know. They just, it's like they hired you to do a job, but they want to sit here. Like the standards, like, it's no different when you get to a job. When you get to a job and you go through the HR meeting, the standards are clear, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't do these standards, you ain't got a job, right?
Right.
It should be the same thing with everything. If you don't do these standards, it's clear. I can help you out. I could give you the information you need, but the standards are clear. My standards are clear on who I have around me. So, man, just to wrap this up, bro, like, you know, I feel like that for our listeners, you know, please just stay focused on that. Hold self accountable. Don't stress yourself out. If you're in a relationship and or the people around you want you to hold them accountable, man, stop that shit, please. Stop. You know, if you hear people always make excuses, and I had to start edifying the time. Like I said, my buddy who said, man, it's my name that's holding me back. I just said, and he wanted to like have this debate. And I said, if you feel that way, that's on you guys. That's fine. That's perfect. I wish you the best, man. You know, in 10 years, where I'm reaching the goals that I set and you're still sitting here doing the same thing you're doing and complaining, maybe you wish you would have listened to me. What about you, man?
Name's not holding you back. Let me tell you that right now. I agree with you. The name's not holding you back. It's 2022. There's too many opportunities. Like, it's not the 60s and the 70s no more. I can see back then, maybe, yeah, but
I don't even see back then. I don't see if any point in history, it's always been people who made the moves and did what they had to get where they had to be.
Right, but as far as your name holding you back from getting, what kind of position would your name hold you back from getting?
I get what you're saying. If you feel it's like a race thing, right?
Yeah, so in 2022, it's like the world is changing. It is different. It's not the same as it was in the 50s and the 60s. So what position are you saying that's holding you back that you can't get if you meet all the qualifications, if you got all the check marks, all the boxes is checked?
But wait a minute. If you don't meet the qualifications, shut the fuck up.
That's exactly. If you're not meeting the qualifications, go back and go get those qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that.
That's one. I mean, and that's one of many examples that you may run across. Like I said, it could be the weight, it could be the money, it could be just empty. I heard people say, "Oh, I want to write a book," and I remember being around somebody who said, "Oh, I want to write this book. I want to do this," and it was so irritating because it's like you ain't even write a fucking chapter. You just talk about it. Like it's just like, yeah, you may have the credentials to write it, but I have a friend, and again, I hope to have him on next time, Tony Rogers. He doesn't have any degrees. He has a little search, but guess what? He wrote plenty of books with a plethora of knowledge that I believe my listeners will love to hear.
Right.
No degrees, nothing. So it's just about where he was self-disciplined and said, "Hey, I'm gonna write a chapter this week. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that," and that's what set people who make it far.
I agree. That's in my life right now. Everybody in my circle of friends, including you and other people, pretty much whatever they said they was going to do, they pretty much do. We all know those people, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They talk a good game. It's like they're trying to convince you that they're going to do, or convince themselves.
Convince themselves.
So they keep talking about it, but it's like, yo, at what point do you take action? Mm-hmm. And everybody around me now, I'm 35, about to be 36. Everybody around me now is like doing what they want to do. And if they say they're going to do something, they pretty much do it. Mm-hmm. I know we all talk or whatever, but majority of the time, hey, I'm going to do this. You get annoyed sometimes listening to people. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. Man, you ain't about to do shit. You just talking. You're not about to do nothing. You ain't even sacrificing. You're not even doing the steps to do that. You just talking, and it's really getting annoying to me. Like, quit talking about it. Go do it.
Well, and I think, everybody's situation is different. There's external factors. Like, when I was growing up, I grew up at home, and when my father was in the streets on drugs, and, and he always used to blame his lifestyle on his father. And I remember, the victim mentality was strong in my household.
Right.
And I was like being conditioned to it. So luckily my mother combated that. She combated that with encouraging us and telling us, and reminding us that wherever you are, it's not because of me, it's not because of anybody else, it's because of you. If you ain't getting the grades you want to, it's because of you.
Right.
If you ain't getting the job you want, it's because of you. And that helped me out. And I feel fortunate. So sometimes I feel like that in a relationship, and again, I'm going to end with this, that if you're in a relationship with someone and they want to do this, it's okay to encourage and talk and be understanding and know that there could be external factors in history. It's good to know all this before you get into, but sometimes you'll uncover that onion layer by layer and realize that a lot of stuff is deeply rooted and it's going to take time. So I'm ending on day to day, day by day. Guys, if you agree with us, cool, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. Make sure you subscribe, get in the comment section, talk about your situations with regards to accountability, self-accountability, stories. I love to hear it. We're always getting new ideas to add for content. And guys, we're out of here, man. See ya.